is up, fight fans? Michael Hernandez here, back with another interview. I'm here today with I would say the premier guest of the program, and not just saying that because his nickname's Hollywood. Shane Hollywood Collins, man, how you doing today, my brother?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me on and taking the time to do this once again. So if there's always a time for me to talk to you, I'm here for it.
It's always an opportunity and always a great chance to get to chat with you and get to go ahead and just catch up with you, man. Because I'm catching up with you on Instagram. I'm seeing what you're doing,
Yeah.
man. You're all over the place. You're Vegas. You're LA. Keep the fans updated, man. What you been up to?
The same old, spending most of my time in Vegas. I try to be a little bit more active on social media, but it's tough when you're busy and you're training all the time. So, but yeah, man, same old thing. Training in Vegas most of the time. I'm back in LA for the rest of the week here. Have some things to handle, some medicals to take care of, and just spend some time with my girlfriend because I've been gone for a while. So yeah, but it's been a crazy couple of weeks for the team. John Paul went out there and won his UFC contract, so it's been a um, big couple of weeks for Cobra team, and it's going to continue to
Yeah,
be that. So
I would argue that John Paul's probably had one of the biggest, if not the biggest, KOs so far on Dana White Contender Series. How has that been getting to be in the room with him, kind of be around him now that he's officially part of the UFC? Obviously, he made the joke that he was taking Ozzy's pass before, using it
yeah,
to get
dude.
into the PI, and it was hard times. But now you got
Yeah,
JPL in there. He's hopefully looking to get you in there pretty soon. How's that been now to get Jane Paul officially part of the UFC roster?
it's incredibly surreal because he's a guy that like we knew deserved to be there for a very long time. Uh, his skill sets, his experience, how long he's been in the game. Turned professional in 2019. If anybody deserved to be there, it was him. And so for him to just kind of bring all that to fruition and do what he did on a couple weeks ago on Tuesday Night Contender Series was like it's hard to put into words. It's just like the universe giving you exactly what you deserve, and not everybody is lucky enough to have everything go the way that they envision it going. So I think just we are all very, very gracious. We're all very excited and humbled by the experience. But he definitely felt like he deserved to be there. We all definitely felt like he deserved to be there. And yeah, if you're at the PI, like you have to sign in with somebody else's name. You're a guest there. All of the kind of like facilities are for the UFC fighter. So when you're there as a guest, you can feel kind of like an outsider, kind of like a burden, a nuisance to the staff and to everybody else. So, but he's developed such good relationships with everybody there that I've never seen. I don't know if you saw, but I've never seen so many people cheering for him at Contender Series. There was like 50 people there for Contender Series, and that was all like UFC fighters. The UFC staff was there to support him because you only get 4 tickets to go to Contender Series, and I think he had close to 30 or 40 people there. That shows you how much he's loved at the PI. So for him to be able
That's
to sign in with
insanity.
John Dana
No,
is crazy.
to even have that much, like how you stated, of a following, to have people want to go out to your Contender Series fights, because there's
Yeah.
guys that have huge followings on the regional scene, and they're still, you hear their name get called on Contender Series, that name call out isn't as loud. But John Paul definitely was a pretty loud uproar once his name was announced that he was going to be getting that contract, and then the scene afterwards. Being a part of that as well. You guys had to hit the steakhouse after, right? I'm guessing that was the ultimate. That was had to
We,
be,
we
or was it? Were you guys holding off on celebratory because you got the fight coming up, man? What
yeah.
was it?
I think about 20 of us went to a sushi restaurant on the manager. So he was very excited, obviously. So he paid for that. Shout out to him. And yeah, it was a great night, like unbelievable night. But he
Nice.
had again. But it's very hard to get into Contender Series. It's one of the I think it's harder to get into Contender, get into like a UFC Apex show. So the only people who are allowed in are people who can get tickets, and you have to be in with the know. You have to be in with the UFC in order to get tickets. So it shows you how many people at the company really beloved him.
I always make the joke because I recently graduated college, and people always hype up, "Oh wow, you graduate college! It's such a big accomplishment," what, and so on and so forth. I'm like, I feel like getting into like a UFC event as like a media member, or like as a fighter, and like, or like getting on Contender Series. That's almost like, I would say, relative to like getting into a master's program, because you really truly are like getting to that top level. And speaking about that oh, my apologies. Continue.
Oh, no, I was about to say that's you hit it right on the head. Obviously, graduating college is a big deal as well, but you're building a business for yourself. You're building a personality and a you know a series of content that people want to be a part of, and that to me is very impressive. So I want to give you props on that as well. Getting into these events is not easy, so I really respect it.
Hey, well, that means a lot coming from you, my man. But speaking a lot more about this Cobra team, man, because you guys are wild. You guys got fights going on everywhere. Ozzy Diaz, he's taking on Mateba Gutierrez, I believe, coming up here pretty soon, correct? Is that October 4th? UFC 320, right? These UFC numbers
Yeah,
getting crazy, man. We're getting out of
yeah,
control
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
320 is insane.
Yeah, I think he was on the main card of that fight until I think they put Yusuf Zalal and Josh Emmett, but I think he'd be the featured prelim fight of that night, so it's going to be a crazy day for sure. I'm going to be back in LA because I have to focus on my fight, but he's in good hands with the rest of the Cobra team. But that's right, he's taking on Atiba Gauthier. It's gonna be an amazing fight, and I'm really really excited for Ozzy, and I'm really happy with where he is at mentally, physically, and with his training and his mentality going into this fight.
Definitely seems like he is on a different level now that he is really back in the UFC. Got the fight of the night in his last performance out there, or the performance of the night, one of the two. But still, I mean, had an amazing performance in his last time out. Obviously, looking to do much of the same against Teba Gutierrez. You're looking to do much of the
Yeah.
same over there. A1 Combat 31, October 10th. Aleb Evangelista, Shane Collins, the battle of the undefeateds. How is it feeling, man?
Yes.
Getting to go over there, getting your return to LA finally.
That's gonna mean a lot to me. I've been fighting all over the place in California, so it's nice to finally be back. I fought Saifullah in Long Beach about a year ago now. So obviously we've done a lot since then, and so I'm hoping to get a big turnout in Long Beach and yeah, make my return. I'm very excited.
Yeah, the return over there to the
Yeah,
illustrious
yeah,
Thunder
yeah,
Studios in Long Beach, California. Definitely got some memories over there. You're hoping to not,
yeah,
hopefully, walk out with
yeah.
sunglasses this time, right?
That's like I was thinking that, dude. I was like, man, I'm gonna have some serious PTSD being back in that locker room. Like, ah, man, this is about to be war. So hopefully, we can make it a little bit more technical, a little bit more tactical, and both of us can come out with our eyesight intact. That's the hope.
And speaking a little bit about your opponent, like how I stated, undefeated record, both of you guys at 4-0. I don't think you often see that a lot of times in the regional MMA scene where you have two prospects that are, I mean, sometimes maybe on the contender series you see it, but two 4-0 guys looking to possibly establish their names as those next guys coming up at the
Mm.
145 weight class. How you feeling about the matchup, man?
I feel amazing. I've a ton of respect for him coming all the way from New York to California to fight in a promotion that has been, doing their best to push me and give me opportunities. And so I have nothing but respect for that guy. That's some serious warrior stuff right there. Um, I like I said, I got nothing but respect, but I know what I have to do October 10th. And I told my managers it took a while to try to get another opponent after Cody. Cody Vogel's my last fight. They were shuffling through a lot of different opponents, and I think at this point in my career, I'm 25 years old. I've been fighting since I was, 18. I have a lot of experience as an amateur, a lot of great fights as a pro. The Saifullah fight we just talked about, a lot of experience. I might only be 4-0, but I have a lot of experience against tough guys. And I told them, whoever you can get to fight me, I will fight. I'm not in the business of passing up fights. I'm not in the business of trying to pad my record because I want to be in the position that Ozzy and John Paul are in. And when you get to that level, you don't get really a choice of who you're fighting. So at the end of the day, I need to be able to beat anybody they put in front of me. And they said this badass from New York wanted to come down and fight in California. So I said, let's do it. Nothing but respect.
That last fight with Cody Vogel's winning the belt over there at Chumash, a little bit closer to the LA area. How was the aftermath of that whole fight? I mean, obviously you were able to go ahead and get the job done pretty quick in the first round, but still, I mean, obviously a fight camp takes a whole lot of a toll on you. How was it to go ahead and get to return back to the Cobra team with the A1 Combat belt, a belt that's not too unfamiliar to you guys, but still obviously feels pretty good. Bring one back for your own, right?
Yeah, to be able to fulfill that legacy for Bruno and myself was pretty special. I had um a group. My uncle is a very connected person, and he had like this ginormous Airbnb that was in Chumash, like in Santa Ynez, and so I had like 20 or 30 of my closest friends and family. They were all there supporting me. So after getting that win, we all went back to the Airbnb and celebrated. It felt like I beat, a world champion in the UFC, and I went back to my Las Vegas Airbnb with my family and friends. So it was one of the best days of my life, and I'm looking to recreate that again and again and again. And um, I'm feeling very confident going into this one. The last fight I had, I was very prepared. I knew exactly what I wanted to do in that fight, and that was one of the first fights that I really like executed exactly what I envisioned, which was a very eye-opening experience when it comes down to how you train, how you prepare, what kind of things you think about going into the fight. That was a very validating experience. However, I had a lot of issues during that camp, bad, weight cuts. I had injuries. I had weeks where I couldn't train very close to the fight. So I actually wasn't even feeling particularly super prepared for anything that could have happened on that night. And luckily, I was able to go in there and execute exactly what I wanted to do, which was great. This time, I feel very prepared in kind of all realms. I know I have a tough fight on my hands. I know I have a tough, experienced opponent on my hands. So I am ready and prepared for wherever the fight goes. I'm in great shape.
You were speaking a little bit about your amateur career, and I think you're probably one of the, if not one of the only guys I've seen kind of compete on the IMMAF and then go on to have a pretty successful professional career. But we're starting to see that a lot more. Starting to see these prospects develop in the IMMAF, starting to take a lot more of a developmental approach to their amateur career. Do you think that's going to kind of be the approach moving forward for a lot of these fighters, especially you, somebody that's a pro 4-0 in your career? Do you feel like that amateur experience has really levied and helped play roles now going forward as a professional?
Absolutely. I think it was a very big learning curve that I took early in my career. And when you do those types of tournaments, obviously there's a lot of things that are different. Damage isn't really as important. Wrestling is heavily important. It comes down to learning how to beat anybody they put in front of you on a day's notice. And that kind of like um ability to know yourself and know what kind of things you do well and how to apply that to any kind of style from any kind of country. That is a very important skill when it comes down to learning how to win the game of MMA, learning how to win rounds, learning how to, win on the scorecards and continue to advance in the tournament. Those are all very important aspects. But on the other side, professional MMA is very different. Professional MMA is about how you can conserve your energy, be intelligent, and pick your times to damage your opponent because you have so much longer inside the cage. And obviously, you're wearing 4-ounce gloves, you have knees to the head, elbows. The game really more comes down to who's more composed and can apply damage in a more like methodical way over time. Most of my professional fights have been damage based, you know. My first professional fight was a kind of a back and forth for the first round, but I knew that I was putting more damage together over time and eventually that took him out. Obviously, my last fight was um probably wouldn't have looked like that if we were in an IMAF scenario. The punches that I landed were hard punches because they were with 4-ounce gloves and they were, it's a different game. You have to be a lot more methodical and a lot more cautious when you're talking about pro MMA. But it also, yeah, like I'm saying, it's just more of a damage based sport. But all that IMAF experience teaches you how to win when fights get tough. It's probably why I had a better opportunity to win my fight against Saifullah when things were going very south for me early. So having that experience and just beating a lot of different guys over time will always help. Boxing, it's obviously very, very popular. Guys have 100, 200 fights before they go pro. MMA, the life in MMA is very short. You know, you can only do this for so long. You can only take so much damage on your body. I think it's just about getting as much experience as you can and trying to fight the toughest guys that you can as an amateur and take those losses as an amateur, take those hard fights as an amateur. I wish I had done that a little bit more. Um, but I think all of that has prepared me very well for where I'm at now at 4-0 and 25 years of age.
I was just about to say 25 years of age, 4-0 as a professional. That's a pretty good outlook to be looking on life moving forward, man. But just this last question for you here,
Yeah.
Shane. Really, really appreciative of your time here and hopping on the program. But like how we stated, this is a main event over there for A1 Combat 31. You're going to be returning over there at Long Beach against Aleb Evangelista. If you are able to go ahead and pull out the win come October 10th, what do you feel is next for Mr. Shane Hollywood Collins? Do you think they got to roll out the red carpet, get you over there at the China Theater? You got to get a fight over there. You know what's next for you, man?
I don't know. In my mind, I want to be ready by the time I'm 26 next year. Maybe Contender Series would be a good option. After John Paul did what he did, I'm not sure I want to try to go top that on Contender Series, but um, I think if I do my job this time, the next time, the time after that, I'll be feeling very confident and ready to take that next step. And I'm not concerned if I will get that opportunity. I know that might sound arrogant, but out of, just pure humility and gratitude, I feel like the people I've surrounded myself with, my managers, the position I'm with A1 at the moment, I know that I will eventually get that opportunity, but I've seen too many people try to take that opportunity too soon for so they can post the Instagram stories of them weighing in for the UFC or Contender Series or whatever, and it never really works out for those people. And I don't want to be somebody who got there too soon and left, and I know people who that's happened to, and that's not my vision. When I go there, I want to be ready, and fight by fight, I feel more and more ready. So to be in the position that I am with A1, I have so much gratitude to them, and I'm very excited to go out there and just represent my skill set, represent my team, and put on a good show for A1, who has been very complimentary of me and helping my professional career thus far. So I'm very excited.
A man that made his debut over there for A1 Combat and looks to possibly continue to go ahead and watch over the throne at 145 pounds for that same promotion. Uriah favors A1 Combat 31 going down over there October 10th. Elite Evangelista versus Shane Collins in the main event for the 145-pound title, folks. Doesn't get better than that, man. Make sure to go ahead and tune in. It's going to go ahead and be on UFC Fight Pass. Shane, any last words before we go ahead and end off the call today?
No, I want to thank you for bringing me on and doing this. This is an important thing that you do, and giving us the opportunities to to speak on here and to practice this muscle. Fighting is its own muscle. You got to work at it and get better at it, and so is this. So I'm very grateful for you and everything that you do. So yeah, October 10th, it's going to be a great show. I'm going to go out there, and I know how hard it's going to be to beat me at this stage in my career. So um, not that I am underestimating my opponent at all. I have nothing but respect for this guy. I think he's a warrior coming down from New York to try to take my belt, but I know what I have sacrificed. I know, how good I am at the sport at the moment. So I'm very excited to put on a show for my fans, my family, and everyone who watches A1 Combat.
Make sure to tune in over there in Long Beach. A1 Combat 31, Shane Collins, Elep, and Vigilista. We'll be doing over the post-fight interviews over there. Cannot wait to go ahead and talk to all the winners afterwards. Michael Hernandez, MLH Media, signing out with my guy over there, Shane Hollywood Collins.